Okay, good morning again. And you don't have to stop eating, except for when you're getting ready to talk. So our purpose for being here this morning is to develop ways that we can, as one person put it in a suggestion, they said, we can become a 7-day operational church. That we have a beautiful campus here and great buildings, and we need to put them to use. So we want to talk about what ministries we can have that will have a great effect in the community. And the only way we can do that is that we are willing to put our hands to the plow. You didn't grow up in the country, you're not going to get that. So that means we've got to be willing to do the work. So we want to come up with ideas. And after we come up with ideas, then we want to decide which one of those ideas that we want to tackle and put them in a priority format. So that's going to be based on what you want. That's why it requires your participation. Here are some things that we want to take a look at that can have an immediate impact. Sanctuary, lighting and upgrade, flexible seating, refresh our lobby, and a children's area for enhancement. So just sort of run those things through your mind as to how we can accomplish these tasks. Then we want to look at the educational building. What can we do here to make this a truly useful building? We have several classrooms, and there are some things that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is fix the roof. Yes, I know that. So we don't need to talk about the roof here. We need to talk about other things that we can do. And talk about things that we can do immediately. But although the roof leaks, we still can do things in here. We can do things that will be beneficial to the church and beneficial to the community. I came by here one Saturday, and the church parking lot was packed. I didn't know what was going on. When I came in, and they were having a dance. This room, if the fire department that came by here, they would have locked somebody up. I don't know the limit, but we had all kinds of violations. But it was a good thing. People in the community were using the church. And that's what we want to do. We want to do things that's going to have an impact on the community. Now, let me tell you, these ideas did not come from me. You remember I sent out an email asking you to submit ideas? And so these ideas came from people in the church who would like to see us do these things. Okay? But we can't do them without the support of the entire congregation. We have a nice facility, a big facility, but we have small numbers in participation. And that's what we have to work on. So I want you, especially you young people, is to think of things that you would like to see us doing, so not only you, but your friends would like to see us doing that would draw them to come here. Maybe not to come to church, but to come to participate in a program that we're having. Everything does not have to be about us. It should be about the community. We have a lot of outdoor space. Someone said we should, and we had a garden at one time, about doing a garden, having growing fruits and vegetables, teaching the people that come here on Thursday. Now we have a wonderful food pantry program. It's fantastic. But even going beyond that is teaching healthy eating, healthy conducting cooking classes. And I know we got some cooks in here. We got some men that can really cook. They show that breakfast this morning that was prepared by Eric and Snap.
All right. And Bill.
It was fantastic. Did you enjoy your breakfast?
Yes.
And we're going to do things like that more. But again, it takes a village. And we are the village, y'all. We're the village. If we want to grow this church, we got to band together. We got to do things that we really don't enjoy doing. It's like, how many of you have kids? How many times have you gone to an event for your kids that you really didn't want to go to? But because it's your child and you want to see your child succeed, you supported your child. We all do it. You know, I don't like music, but I went to many a band concert. I used to drive from here to Orangeburg, South Carolina for Candace. And she played the bassoon, or whatever you call that thing. And it wasn't about that. It was about supporting her in what she was doing. I have to do the same thing about her. We got to support her. You know, and I hate to call people out, but some things, it's not that I'm ignoring other people, but some things I just can't help but see. Nate, he has his grandkids, his grandnieces, his grandaunt. He's always having someone here in the church and showing them the word. And we all should be doing that, including me. I'm very negligent in that. But we've got to do the things that we really don't enjoy doing. And that's how we're going to get to where we need to go. So I'm going to pause here. And I want you, if you look through those papers that we place on your desk, and if you're doing repetitive work, that's fine. But let's get some ideas up on the board. Who's a good writer? That was short. You got to mark it. Anybody can think of anything right off the top of their head they'd like to, that we're not doing that they'd like to see us do.
No, when you mentioned this, Bill, I wrote down 5, what I call church service plans, that I thought that we can get involved in. I'm gonna review those 5. One, financial empowerment education workshop. And I would stress this out a whole lot, but basically what it would be is in the church, using,
Just put workshop.
financial empowerment education workshop. In other words, it would be workshops that are conducted by people who are members of Columbia Drive, people who invited. For example, I went to see my financial planning minister. He's a great guy. He's also a preacher. And, you know, he helped me a lot. He was with a company my brother-in-law started, basically.
What's your next one, Sam?
Okay,
Yeah,
next one is-
we've got a lot of people here.
Okay, healthcare fair.
Healthcare.
Healthcare fair. I know the church up the street, I think it's Presbyterian Church, and a healthcare fair. That's something we can do, even if it's like once or twice a year. Healthcare fair for men, for women, for youth.
What's
Number
that?
3, progressive educational workshop. The things that, I'm not a parent, but the things that.
We already got workshops.
Okay. All these are workshop issues.
Okay.
Education workshops, career development, that can involve tutoring, preparing for college and trade school. And the last, number 5, is a job search workshop. And remember about 6, 7 years ago in Pastor Thompson, we had a job search day. I think we had it on 2 occasions, but that's it right there. So I think those are things that we can do to serve the community and build some of the strengths we already have.
Anyone else?
4 bathrooms upstairs renovated.
Yes, but
I got one too. Good morning.
Put it up there.
Good morning.
I'd like to say that, y'all know I'm here for the little children, the little people. And, it has been said, and we talked about it, but I have not been able to make this happen, but the youth need a space that belongs to them. And what I mean by that is there are, you know, you guys pass by the children's classroom, there are toys, there are carpet little chairs, even in the toddler room, they have toys and little things. There's nothing, there's not a room that's really attractive in my youth, I mean 11 to 16, 17. And they're talking about simple stuff like beanbag, LED lights, this stuff is less than $40, but they need a space. They need,
Thank you. They need a space. They're talking about things like beanbag chairs, LED lights, air hockey table, you know, TV or something. They're talking about a cool space that they can come to. Because if you noticed, you know, when they come down, or even if it's a child that, like even just for Easter, I had children that came down that weren't a part of the program, but when we leave, they want to come with us, right? And they left, and they're like, okay, Miss Cece, you need me to do something? They're ready to work, they're ready to do something, they're ready to get with the people that they see all the time and be with their friends, and they need a special space to do that. Now, I don't know what that looks like space-wise, but I want y'all to think about it.
No, I was just gonna say I should have saved my yellow beanbag from the 60s. But, you know, yeah, let them come together and give you ideas, because this is something we might be able to do immediately, you know, with some donations, et cetera.
I know y'all got the fireworks. Is there anything that quietly, since you got choir members here, that you don't have, that you need, something we can do?
And then music director.
That's not for the
Yeah, maybe we need to talk about them. Well, we need to know the ones we got to wait. maybe some, like Emerson said, maybe some roads, but not the ones we got in here. Or maybe a church uniform, like a polo shirt with our church name on it or something, maybe.
Something standard.
Yeah.
All these different colors.
Because all black is not black.
Uniform, we need to be more uniform.
Something standard for the church, for the choir.
Hello. I was wondering if it's going to be.
Shake it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I add summer camp to that?
I like to see us get a bus.
Yes.
Somebody said, was that you that said that? Somebody said that. A bus, okay. We used to have a bus. Yeah.
Bill, Donna said we need an elevator. That is true.
Yes. The elevator is not a small, that's the only problem, it's not a small undertaking. It does have to come with a total renovation project, but we're aware of it.
We're dreaming big.
Yeah, I think we should make a distinction between, things like space upgrades, like the elevator, the restroom upgrades, all of that, and what we need to do to serve the community and serve the congregation. So it needs to be the donation, because I think the things that will serve the community, like I mentioned, the financial empowerment workshop, the daycare, somebody just mentioned, those things can serve the community, but they also can serve the church. So, and also it's a way, to be frank, that we can maybe draw in more members. So I think that's the distinction. I'm a trustee, so those physical upgrades, things we think about and talk about all the time, those cost money. But the things that we talk about in terms of probes that you talk about, Bill, that are really on the form here, and I brought up, and some other people brought up, the things that we could do that will enhance the life of the community, improve the lives of people in the community, and also maybe even help, increase our size congregation.
And that's the plan, Sam. We're going to list a lot of things, then we're going to break them out.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we're gonna break them out. We're just trying to get ideas now, then we're gonna break them out.
Okay.
And we may have to do this again
Yeah.
because if we wanna do it right. And so we have to be, the first thing we gotta be willing to do is invest time. If we rush through it, it's like, do you want your house built in Tom is in construction? Do you want your house built in 6 months? Or you want it built in 12 months or 18 months? If you get a 6 months house, guess what you will have? A lot of problems. A lot of problems. So you want to do it right.
I know Billy mentioned that we're just brainstorming right now and getting things on paper. But what we will also do is kind of lay out what's short-term, mid-term, long-term, what things we can do within the next month that can help us. The handouts that you have kind of outline some things for the short term. What can we do just to reach out to members that we know are not here now, bring them back in. So the organization of this list will be coming. One thing I would like to add, and I won't, that we meet the American Disabilities Act with a lot of our facilities in terms of hearing impaired, mobility issues. So I would like to see us be a lot more conscious around that.
And a program where, I guess it's outreach where you go out and get the word out about your ministry and just leaders, so people. Evangelism. I would be interested in participating in something like that. I I make, tracks, and I make witnessing to it. Oh, and I want to add like the arts and crafts, like a craft and praise type of, program, like where they have like sip and paint, but it'll be craft and praise. And I'm nervous also, so I'm like craft and praise.
And let us
That
ask,
question.
they have the paperwork on the table, the blank forms, for things that you are particularly interested in doing. Go ahead and list.
Yeah, because we may not get everything up on the wall.
Exactly.
But I do have a question for you. What drew you to come to this trial? Because you are a new guy. What made you decide that you wanted to come and
Join the church.
join the church?
The love for the people. Like, everybody embraced me, and I really appreciate it, because you don't get that type of love every day. And so I really do appreciate everybody, like, I don't want to cry.
What makes you this? Before you met those people, what made you come to the church?
The Lord had told me I needed to, get out of the house, because I was like, isolating myself, and I didn't want to be bothered with people, and so the Lord was like, no, you need to get out, you need to go to church, and He showed me this particular church, and so when I came, it was like, oh my God, I should have been came when He told me, because He had already been telling me like 2 months prior to when I came.
So you live in the neighborhood?
I do.
So you saw the church?
I've been seeing the church for 30 years.
Well, you finally got to. But my point is, I think some of the things that we're talking about, we're just looking for ideas right now. I mean, this is brainstorming, as you say. But what makes people come to the church is very important. And because if you get in here, we'll get you. But if you don't come to the church,
Right.
we don't have a way of getting to it. So one of the things that we don't do that we definitely need to do, and I'm a marketing guy, right? You gotta advertise.
That's right, yeah.
You know, we don't, and we're not the only ones. I haven't received advertising from any church in this neighborhood, and there's a lot of them. But I've never received an advertisement to come to a church.
Yeah,
So there's something we have to do to promote our church.
yeah.
And I know we have an advertising committee, a marketing committee, something. But we need to really emphasize something that we can go out to the community and say, our church is open for business. And we haven't done that. And the other thing we do, we promote our church online, which we advertise. We're on every week, because I used to watch it for over 80 consecutive times. We need to make sure that advertising that we're sending out online is attractive to people
Yes.
to want to visit. If we can get you to visit the church, you know, the Columbia Drive experience will kind of make you come back. At least it did for those of us who are here now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have a great evangelism committee that actually went out among people. They used to go down to Wayfield Plaza and Mall. They were out among the people talking about the church and coming to the church. And we had a few people to come in at that time.
I think,
Yeah, I'm gonna make a suggestion to add on to what he just said also. We gotta look at the statistics too. I just wanna bring that up. Let's look at the research in our area. He brings a good point about advertisement and evangelism and outreach, but I want y'all to know, I know the missing group here is usually your,
young adults, right? And that's who we want, because those are families, they have children. But studies show us that they come to churches based off need, okay? So maybe I need somewhere for my children to go. Maybe I need a financial workshop class. And so to his point, if there is nothing, you know, if you don't know this church, you might think this church is closed. You don't really see anything. You see cars on Sunday. But to Major Gordon's point about operating more, I was just gonna say with the marketing, we gotta think outside the box. We gotta be willing to be untraditional in those ways, because studies are showing that the young people, they're looking for events. So to his point, I might not get a lot of emails from certain churches, but there are other churches that I follow, and they are always doing something, right? And it's like, oh, they got this ministry. I wonder if my child would like that. So we gotta kind of focus on, and maybe there's some low-hanging fruit stuff that we can address in a couple of months, actually.
Right here.
Back here. Oh.
Right here, then that.
Good morning. You know I don't even need the mic, but I'll hold it anyway. I want to piggyback on what Sierra is speaking on. In my travels, however they are, I see a lot of things that other churches are doing. I don't necessarily mean to be a copycat, but we have to somehow establish recidivism in this church. People come, they join, they never come back.
Right.
Why?
Yeah, I would check.
We got to come up with something that keeps the glue going with us, the love pattern with us, that entices people to want to be with us. We got to do that. We got to figure out a way to, when these people come and join, as Mavis has said, the outreach, the spiritual outreach team, whatever you call it, is the team that should reach out to these people and keep them bonded with us when things are going on. So if we have things like Sierra's indicating, there's so many churches that I deal with because I do a food ministry, a feeding ministry at my community. So I am locked into a lot of these churches. I see what they do. They have multiple missions, many things going on that will keep the church active in the community. As Sierra said, you ain't got nothing to bring the folks in for what they're coming for. So we have to be able to reach out to the people who need, they come for a need, and we satisfy the need by enticing them to join here, but what do we do to keep them here? How does that happen? I don't know how it happens. So I'm throwing it out like that.
Okay. I think, go ahead, Rob.
Okay, you do have retention of current members and new members.
Retention is recidivism.
Good morning.
Retention is recidivism.
So Mr. Walton said something that was good as far as advertising. And here's the thing. The truth of the matter is the group of people that we really need to bring in here is probably 25 to 55.
Yes.
A lot of our elders over the last 5 years have passed away. And if we are not refilling, reloading, we will decline. So now the question is, between the 25 and 55-year-olds, how do we get them here? Because not only that, those are the people with kids, families. And the idea too, as Mr. Walton said, advertising. We can do a small campaign through Facebook ads. We can do Instagram. Even when we had, even learning to do hashtags. When we had the Atlanta Braves come here and partner with the food pantry, when all the kids from Columbia Drive came here and taking pictures and doing everything, we should have hashtagged that. So when we start hashtagging it, it gets onto Facebook, it gets onto Instagram, people start seeing, as someone said in here, community activity. When you start seeing, and see, here's the thing too. See, back in the day, you had to come here and see what was happening. You had to be in these walls. But with the digital world, you can be seen all over the place if someone just hashtag, if someone just posts something. And that also brings us to the next thing also is just figuring out in our digital strategy, where do we either upgrade, transform, and what do we decide to push, and what is going to be our vision moving forward? Because here's another thing. If someone comes here, as you say, how do we bring them back? What is our vision? Like, what do people know us by? And so as we begin to go into this next season, it is important that we begin to push. And here's the other thing I'll say, is that no matter who's pastor here, see, I'll say this, and this is probably more for the men. Last year, Seattle won the Super Bowl, right? Sam Darnold's not that good of a quarterback. But the thing is, he had a good team around him. So no matter who we bring in, who is here, it's important to get on board and understand that it is us that make it a success. Yes, when we're good, we make the leader look good. So as we go into this next season, and this is the other thing, we have like 60 days to start thinking about this plan and this relaunch. Because the new pastor comes in July something. So we should already be on board where we're going, how we're going, because if he comes here and we're fragmented, we're a puzzle that is not put together, then he's going to take a whole year trying to put us together. And we don't, and not only that, but we don't have that time. So there's a lot of different things, and as he printed out, and we have these here in front of you, there's a lot of different strategies that we can think about as far as reaching back out to older members, reaching back out, having a relaunch day, having, and not only that, but when a visitor comes, just having, and this is probably something we already do, so please excuse me if I'm speaking out of ignorance, but if a visitor comes, someone calls them within 72 hours and saying, thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming.
That's exactly.
And then sending them a card too, with handwritten, even if we have the handwriting, just let the pastor sign it. Them seeing something like, wow, on 2 different occasions they thought of me. And because so many people are forgotten when they come to these churches, but the beautiful part for our church right now, people can make a difference. We are small enough that you can come in here and make a difference.
Jasper, and let me just say that we try to be inclusive of the information we've already received. So it's in that handout, and I would like you to take that handout home. Look at each of those items, and if it's something that you have an interest in or a talent for, please just send either email or some communication to say, this is an area I can do this tomorrow, okay? So we do want to tie some of the ideas together, particularly those things you can do right now.
I just wanted to say this one quick thing. Coming from behalf of the youth group, what Mr. Jasper was saying about the digital strategy and doing hashtag and videos, I think the youth should be in charge of that because we're more familiar with social media and how it works. I think that it will give the youth something to look forward to when they come to church also, like not only just to get the word of God, but also to do more fun events. Like we can post things on social media and we can have more kids come in and it'll be a great way for the youth to start doing stuff downstairs.
Yeah, I was just saying that some of the people who already sort of brought up what I was saying, I think Cheryl did. But anyway, if a new member comes, we need to contact that person to let them, thank them that they will want to come to front of the drive. But also, it's a good idea for us to establish like an accountability partner, a discipleship partner, just to work that person, call them and invite them out to dinner. I've been in churches where you invite the new members out to dinner sometimes. So we need to make people really feel at home when they come here. And like Tom said, they need to really feel that they are comfortable here, that they're welcome. We can talk about the problems. What are the challenges you're facing in life right now? Financial, personal. Can we allow you to talk to some of our members who might have some expertise in those areas? So we need to do everything to help strengthen one another. We need to do that among the older members too. If a person has a certain issue. So that's all I want to say. And I think, Cheryl, what you said was very important. I think Pastor Thompson called that the sticky church, but the problem is, let us make sure that we are, any person who comes in the first time, even if it's the first time visit, give them a call. Why don't you come back? Let me take you to dinner sometime.
I have a question, and I don't know who can answer this. When we're
talking about the things that we want to do, are there, and this might be a question for Brian or Manager Gordon, are there some physical things that we need to be cognizant of before we start attacking low-hanging fruit? So I'm asking, we talked about workshops. Let's say that I say, okay, next month, is May, it's gonna be Mother's Day. You know, I wanna host the women's workshop or women and daughters or whatever. You know, are there some physical challenges that we need to know and be cognizant of as a church before scheduling to plan that? I think I'm just wondering what, you know, in terms of, because we all know we have great ideas, but I'm thinking about like what are our next steps. So, yeah, and so I want to know, is there something that we should be thinking about, places we can't use, or should we highlight what we have and what we can use so we can know where to start?
And I would like to respond to that just kind of in part. We did a job readiness training program for youth, for teens. Some of the prerequisites for what you must have some dollars to actually bring young people in, and we bought computers. The space is here, but depending on what ministry, what project you may want to do, you really do have to work with the council, finance, to see what funds are available, and you always need dollars. We did get a grant, evangelism grant, for $5,000. And right now, I'm looking at Lilly Foundation, and their whole thing is turn your real estate into assets. And the assets become resources connecting with the community. So, if you have a deep interest, determine the cost of the project first.
So building off of that, I would say, to your question about physical space, the sanctuary can be activated in its fullest extent. So every room downstairs, we can sign leases, have contracts, we can get insured by anybody, and we can show proof of insurance in that side of the building. This building's a little bit hairier, all right? So from an official perspective, obviously we can host events here like we always have been. When people start asking about liabilities, certain policies that we can show proof of here, it's a little hairier. Because it's not technically up to code. This building is in sanctuary, we can do whatever we would like to do in that building. So when it comes to programming and thinking about what space will be most conducive for your ideas, I say lead with the sanctuary first, and then there's classrooms downstairs. Reserve this building for meetings like this with the congregation, members of the church, members of the community that are going to ask for those certain pieces of information.
When you say up to code, are you talking about the roof? Or
Yes.
you talking about, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
It's not sprinkled. You can't put children in, it's not sprinkled. The building
Exactly.
is not set for, if you have educational classes for kids. Oh, yeah. You gotta have sprinkler systems. That's the number one problem that you have outside of the league. But if you put a sprinkler system in here, you can have an after-school program, you can have a daycare program, you could have almost anything because you get licensed. And let me say this, one of the biggest attractions this church ever had in this group was AT&T decided to send all their employees in the summer to this church, and they paid for their summer camp. And hundreds of people ended up coming here. All the people didn't stay. But that summer, we never had a financial problem because AT&T was paying for it. They still have the need for it because AT&T and everybody else need summer camp programs. And even the state, the county will sponsor some people to come to the summer camp program. But we can't do it because we don't have a facility. And we need this, as far as I'm concerned, we need this facility for more than just the summer camp. We need this facility for everything. This is a money maker. And if it was ready to go, tomorrow we could put it out. Because there's somebody that's going to get married, there's somebody that's going to have a birthday party, there's all kinds of things that
I'm gonna just interrupt here for a second. Take a look at the back wall. Does anyone know what that is?
Pastor Thompson, the lounge that he wants.
That is the scalpel.
The vision.
Yeah, that was the
That-
spot.
Close your eyes. Yes. Envision.
envision an area that you can walk in. When you walk into the door, what you see in front of you is huge glass window where you see kids running around on the side. You walk into the building. You're going to sit in a comfortable seat, and you're going to have someone come over and ask you, "Can I help you? May I bring you a cup of your favorite beverage?" You see families. You see yourself. You're sitting in an area where you are comfortable, where you are at peace. You are in the you spot, where you are the most important element in you. Open your eyes and look at the back wall, and that's where you are.
Beautiful. And I want to read the rest.
I believe.
How did believe land up on the piano? We wanted to keep this front and center. You know, many may sit here now and say, well, that's great to dream. But I will tell you, it starts with envisioning and then committing. And we are going to be talking about how do we get there as well. But other comments?
Right here.
Yes.
I agree with all of these wonderful and illustrious and beautiful and slurpy ideas that we have heard this morning. I agree with them. We need to do something. We need to make a change. I think the change has to be first an internal change. Because if you don't respect and honor your internal customers, your business won't thrive at all. So if we don't elicit things that we can do among us, our churches, our church family right here, we don't do something to build or rebuild or whatever it is to create an environment that is loving, respectful, and harmonious in this place first. To elicit somebody else to come in here and it's messy in here, we don't want to do that. We want to clear up the mess in here first. Let's show love first to each other. Then we can show it to outsiders to bring them in. They don't see it and they don't feel it here, they ain't going to come back. They ain't going to come back. I just say that. They ain't coming back. Okay. Yeah, they ain't here. They ain't coming back.
Okay. So let's talk about the technology footprint a little bit. So right now, we connect externally via Facebook, via YouTube. We also use outreach tools such as email blasts, and we also use phone, I believe text messages, calling posts come out, as well as text messages. Our Facebook presence is primarily driven by our church services. So is our YouTube. Prior to the actually right after COVID and during COVID, we actually used to do something called Boost on Facebook, which we would target our immediate zip codes to reach people who don't necessarily watch that Sunday service. And it was a small investment. We would spend like maybe $20, $30, and we would get up to 2,000 visual footprints being generated outside of the normal people who come into our church service. And so we went away from that because, it wasn't after people started coming back, we just stopped doing it. But that was one way where we were actually creating foot traffic out here. And if you look at our finances and where dollars were coming in, we were generating revenue from those impressions. People who were just coming to our website and to our Facebook page, they were giving money to us.
And so I think we need to definitely start doing strategies like that again, because that's easy money. That's $100 investment for us to be able to generate at least 2,000 to 3,000 impressions. And by impressions, that means people who are generating clicks out there on our Facebook page that we can now potentially monetize. And I think we have a great service here. And again, we do have some cracks, you know, and we can get those cracks straightened out. But our technology footprint, the billboard out front, that was a $30,000 investment to get that billboard put up out there. And we use it, but we leverage it primarily for our internal purposes. We definitely could do a much better job of both visualizing the billboard, promoting events on the billboard, and making sure that the content out there isn't just relevant for people who usually already are coming. And so those are some of the things that I think low-hanging fruit, don't require a lot of investment, easy for us to potentially monetize and do, and I definitely think that we need to get the youth involved, because their impressions, their ability to be able to generate clicks are going to be much greater than ours. I know we have some power Facebook users out there among some of us older people, but most of us are just scrolling out there on Facebook. We're not actually posting content out there. And so I think it's important for us to, you know, just kind of look at some of those aspects of how we create that digital footprint around this church and making sure that we're leveraging it to the best possible.
Sierra, please add Bill, our up front for the church.
Yes.
Marquee. Yes. We definitely want that as a key focus. Yes.
Upgrade.
Right now, I mean, it just requires somebody to go out there on Facebook and basically create a campaign. So you create a campaign out there on Facebook, you say how much you want to spend, it allows you to go in and you can target, because at that time we were targeting people who were recently in church or had viewed like church-related content on their Facebook page, and then we send it out to that group of people, and we could actually pinpoint specific zip codes that we want to target.
But you want someone that, one person, a small group of people to monitor that.
Yes.
So that we are putting the correct content out there.
So that we
So not just somebody, anybody just get up and say something.
No, it'll be a team, but probably
Right, a young team.
headed up by Eric, you know, the young team that can do it, but it might be training
And the problem with a lot of this is we don't have people who's willing to step up and do the things that we're talking about. It's good, okay, well, who's gonna do it? Oh, I don't know.
Well, I think we just made a connection. We have a youth that is saying they want to be a part of something. We have a tech extraordinaire who is saying, I know the things that we can use as a small investment. I think we married the two, right? We have a meeting, and
Talk to finance.
yeah, we talk, yeah, we'll, and I must say
Already,
this.
I'll sponsor this myself. I'll sponsor this myself.
And I must say this, Jasper made a very good, I call him little Jasper, made a very great comment. I haven't in a while, but he has a website that is phenomenal. So he has experience, and it is so, it is a beautiful website. It's so active. So you got someone else that you can use within that young group.
So it's not overcomplicated, we just created our event,
For the 90 days.
Yeah.
for 90 days, we just created evangelical.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
So we're creating a digital.
Yeah.
We're creating a digital team, digital disciples. That's what they okay, we got the digital disciples.
And the other thing I was going to say, when you're talking about people who approve the content, most digital campaigns, you go ahead and you plan it out.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, hey, I'm going to do 2 posts a day. And the good thing about Instagram and Facebook, you can post in one and it'll shoot to all.
Right.
So the idea is to be able to sit down with the team and say, grab some good high quality photos from different events and everything, and figure out what you're gonna put under there, and you can just create an Excel sheet with what you're gonna post, what time you're gonna post, and everything else. So therefore, it's a plan that's ahead of time, that's already approved by everybody. And actually, the cool thing is with these software, you can just put it on auto.
Yeah.
So it's not even at the moment stuff, the hashtag would be at an event that we can upload, but as far as advertising, that can be done as a campaign that's already thought out, approved, and everything. So we don't have to worry about it.
Do I hear that I should add you to this?
I was about to say, if there's anyone.
I mean, just to help train the youth.
I got you.
Because they're active, like, they know what's happening while it's happening. But like the new saying, there's a new saying they broke out last week. I just saw a church just that they already using.
Right.
Our young people would they use the birthday thing, right?
Oh.
See, they laughing. Okay, they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So I'm just saying, could we add you here?
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
periodically. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And
the
Sierra, please
and the
add
one-
your name as well.
Yes.
Thank you. And the other thing I would say, Sierra, is like what you did last Sunday with the kids with doing like the news thing.
Excellent.
See, there's certain things that are so creative that doesn't take a lot of money. Like there's things that are creative that doesn't take a lot of money, but does set us apart. So when those visitors do come and they see like the kids doing the news and going somewhere and saying, how you doing? It's awesome. So the thing is too, as we grow and change and we're going to evolve, there are things that we may do that we didn't do 10 years ago, and we're just asking, and this is the whole thing of casting visions, like just get on board and trust where God is taking us. Because it may not always be comfortable for everybody that's been here for 30 years. And it may not. Right, so just kind of let's go together, let's figure this out, because the thing is, at the end of the day, a lot of people's been here for many years. There's legacy here. And there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying? So the idea is, a lot is changing, but we're evolving. The word will always remain the same. God will remain the same. Well, who we're trying to reach may change, and how we reach them may change.
Absolutely. I have a question real quick. I don't know who has. I got a question real quick, Eric. You know how, so to Jasper's point, right, what we did Sunday was real cool. The kids enjoyed it, right? Is there a way, I know there's a way, but I think I'm asking, is it easy for us to maybe recap, do a little short of our program and then advertise it on another day? Because if we're only active on Sunday mornings, we're not going to get there. We need some more traction in the week. So is there like a way to maybe recap, like commercialize what we just did, so it can be like, you know, here
like
are youth in action. I know y'all use CapCut. So you get what I'm saying? Like, what we can do, kind of a little infomercial, and that be what we boost out sometimes.
Well, if your digital disciples come together as a group, I think that's where you will find out how do we do it and get it done.
Yeah.
And certainly to have the conversation about do we have the capacity is a first question.
Right, because that's what I want
But I think for the group to get together and decide what do we want to do next week, next Sunday, that's where it can come together. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to work with the digital disciples? Because this is an immediate.
Very good. And you can put my baby down into Alicia. Perfect.
Alicia?
Brian has one.
Brian would like to work with the group.
Brian?
Yes.
Deborah?
Good.
Okay.
Deborah? Both? Very good. So I think with the names of the individuals who have an interest, again, this is an immediate. So I would say when we, and I don't know, I don't want to take over, but we should maybe take a little break.
Well, no, that's what you're doing. But anyhow, you guys see where we're trying to go, right?
Yes.
So we still got a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of ideas out there. We need to get them down, and we need to prioritize. We got to get them organized, and then we can start
working on trying to move forward. But the key, as I said earlier, is that we gotta be willing to put your hand to the plow. You know, we can talk all day. But if we don't wanna work, if we don't wanna participate, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. I see you saying. We're gonna, if you have it, any ideas, everybody put their email address on the sign-in sheet, please.
Yes.
So we'll get this organized, and we'll send everybody all of the ideas. We're looking for feedback, and we will try to come together again within the next 4 to 5 weeks, because we don't a short road to get this done. And remember, because we are a Methodist church, when we decide that we're going to do something, it has to go through the church council.
And Mr. Church Council is in the room, for those of you who may not know. Tom,
See what I told you?
chair of our church
I was
council.
going to do it.
And can we say how do we, you know, what's that line, what's that process?
Well, you look,
How he wants
what
to
you
be
want to do,
contacted?
the stuff that y'all were talking about doing, when you going to have a council meeting?
We have 12.
12th of May?
Church-wide, is the 31st of May. But we're getting ready for the change of the command. We're leaving with Angie and bringing on our new pastor. And there's going to be 2 different types of celebrations. One for her leaving, giving our thank you, and then one for welcoming the new pastor. That's going to go out pretty soon. It's going to be a special day at church for each one.
Church council.
With the church and the church council.
This is important stuff right here.
The church council meeting where all the heads of well, not the entire church, but this is for the executive committee, is the 12th of May. The 31st is everybody will be invited after church for a meeting of what has been planned as far as reception of Pastor leaving and reception for the new pastor coming. And then this is new right here, what we're talking about. The bill has come up with, I mean, it's been needed, but no one's taken it on themselves to do it. And thank God he has, started it. But I think one thing that, and this is done with marketing. In marketing, you have segments that you need to try to reach. Our biggest segment is the elderly people that are in our church. We need to make sure that they are taken care of. And when I say taken care of, that Sam talked about it. All the programs that Sam mentioned a few minutes ago are for elderly people. It's for people who retire, which most of us are retired. And we need to cater to that group. And there's also outside people who would love to come to the church for these same meetings. I don't know anybody else. Only thing I received is advertising to come to dinner so they can get your business. But the church didn't have a program for the elderly retirement right here now that we need to work on. And then the other is for what we're talking about, the youth. The youth will bring, let's say this, many youth will bring their parents to the church. If you get the youth to come, that's what we used to do, the basketball program that we had. It was a big program, and it worked, because the biggest thing we had was the day where we gave the trophies out, where all the parents came, they filled up the whole church. Yeah. So it does work to go after the youth, and that's what we need to, this group needs to concentrate on. What are we going to do for both of those segments, the elderly and the youth? And then there's a group in between middle-aged people who we need to try to attract. So all of this is gonna be taken into consideration, in the coming year. And like we said before, we need to approach the group pastor with all these ideas or something close to it, that this is what the church wants to do.
And I don't want us to get away from, this morning is the brainstorming. This afternoon is going to be talking about the funding strategy. Okay? So I don't want anybody to leave because the funding is more important almost than the idea. Yes?
I would say, just looking at the amount of people we have here and the amount of people we have on Drive, I think the idea for a social media team, digital disciples, is great. I think we need to establish two programs we can have and work with those and see if those bear fruit. Don't try to do too many things at the same time. For example, like somebody mentioned evangelism, spiritual evangelism, preaching people about God and Christ. That can tie in easily with social media team and the disciples. We just don't want, to be entertainment only. That's fine. But some of these ministries are programs we tie in together. Let's just work on a couple of things and see how those bear fruit. The people already have here. Some people have stepped into play on the social media team. Those people work together, and maybe one of us folks, let's decide on those and work on those and let those bear fruit.
Very good. Although we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And for those individuals who already have capacity to do things, I would say we want to make sure we're coordinated with church council. Because we've got to do a celebration for the outgoing pastor. We've got to do a reception for the incoming pastor. So there are things that, Ann, our hospitality team, need to start working on now.
And we have VBS coming up.
What is it?
I said, we have VBS
vacation
coming
Bible
up.
school.
That could potentially be one of the campaigns that we're pushing out. This is something we already do, but the digital disciples, we're gonna be talking about how we're gonna make our footprint digitally with VBS, but we need y'all here too, because we don't wanna, what you don't want is us to start advertising, and then they come here and it's 7 of us, okay? But it's all of them, and we're saying that we are the lighthouse, so keep in mind when we start pushing it out, we're gonna have to stand up to what we said we were.
That's putting your hand to the plow.
Yeah.
You be willing to work, Snap and I were having a discussion this morning. We've got to be willing to work in areas that you don't want to do. But if you're not willing to do that, then we are not going to be successful. So we are committing ourselves to defeat. If we say, well, I don't want to work in that area, let them handle it. Let them do that. We can't have that. It's all about us pulling together and working together. Now, we're going to take a break, but I'm going to give you a little something to think about while you're on your break, if I don't get interrupted again.
You better get interrupted.
He wants me to be Debbie Downer. I know we're talking about a lot of things, but we have to be realistic with what we're doing and how we're doing. We are a church that gives, and we give by need, such as when we started the pledge campaign. I just want to give you an update on that so you'll know what we've raised and where we are. When we started, just with the pledges, and that's through giving through the envelopes, from December 2024 through March of this year, just in pledges, we had collected $97,524.33. Okay, so I know that we will give. But now of that, in addition to, we had some grants and we have that legacy memorial from Mrs. Noel. We have, or should have, $105,202.93 in the bank. Okay? But, we have bills to be paid. Okay? So, sometimes we make those bills, most times we don't. So as of this year, we've collected $86,000 toward taking care of everything that we need to take care of, and that includes what we collected in tithes and offerings, that puts designated funds, that's given to the pledges, and all of that. So we are still falling short. We're good at giving to designated funds, such as apportionment, still kind of behind, but apportionments, pledges are falling off. Because, you know, we used to collect $5,000, $7,000 a month just in pledges. Now we're barely making $2,000 in pledges. So don't forget, we still have to fix this roof. Okay? But we still have bills that are increasing. Just like your bills at home are increasing, that light bill, gas bill, water bill, it is increasing here at the church. So we have to be cognizant of that. Some people are giving until it hurts. We have about 10 people that is really carrying the church. We have about 10 people, 10 members, that is really giving over and beyond what they usually give in order to carry the church and make sure that the bills are being paid. Some people are still giving what they've always given, and I understand that. If you don't have the extra, you don't have the extra. But sometimes, let's try to make a sacrifice and give a little bit more. If you can, when you can, wherever you can. And I know we want to go on vacation, we got to have we have to have that life-work balance. But the church needs your support. And it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So let's, we want to support the new digital disciples. And I know a lot of that is going to come from people giving extra. That's going to be funded, through giving extra. But remember that extra should not stop you from giving to the church to meet the bills. And I'd just like to introduce the new finance team members. Because some of you may say, well, maybe I'm behind finance because I'm going to be leaving this position to do something else. But Brian Johnson is our chairperson of finance. Bill Gordon is still involved in finance. He's the stewardship committee chairperson. He's responsible for getting money in here. That's why this meeting is going on, to get your ideas of how to raise money. We have a new financial secretary. That's Ms. Judith Lyles. And she is responsible for recording all of the money that comes within the church, money that's online, money that comes in the envelopes. When you walk into the office and say, I want to make a donation, she has to track all of that money. And that's a big job. When you have to, you got $1 here and $3 here and 50 cents here. She has to make sure those are the correct line items. And it's not easy, trust me. Because, our system, we have a digital system, but it doesn't always line up with the way people give. And we want to be fair and record. So when you get your statements, you can see what you gave to, how much you gave, and where you think you might have fallen short and you want to give more money. Our new treasurer is Robin McDonald. She is responsible for monitoring the bank accounts along with our chairperson of finance, making sure that all the bills are paid in a timely manner, making sure that we're not behind on anything. She does, the checks, and is also responsible for payroll. So these are people that I'm still in training, or they're remarkable because they have picked up on a lot of things, but there are a lot of moving pieces in finance. So we're kind of slowly, by end of June, we should have everything in place. So if you have any questions for finance, I'm still available, but we need you to remember, we have to be cognizant, we want to be productive, we want to give, so do what you can, as often as you can, and as much as you can. And I think that covers everything.
That's a good message.
Oh, now, don't forget apportionments. Don't forget apportionments. Our apportionments is $24,000, just like it was last year. We want to try to get the apportionments paid by the end of October. I hate to say this, but we have always asked that each member give $400 toward apportionments. Some people forgot last year, and they were saying, well, you didn't remind me I was supposed to give that $400. I'm reminding you early. We want each member to give $400 towards apportionment. You know, $50 here, $100. You'd be surprised how fast that $400 adds up. But if you can give more toward apportionments to meet that $24,000, that's even better. Okay? All right. Thank you for your time.
Maybe I have a
Question?
question and then a break.
Question?
Listening to all of the many wonderful roles which are part of finance, is there an opportunity or possibility to develop an opportunity for mentorship for our youth? I think that's a great skill set for our young people to be able to carry over into their future lives if they're learning from the team that's already doing it.
Yes. I will mentor anybody at this point.
I'm asking because I have a child who's in, she's interested in possibly doing real estate or either business and finance. I think that's a great skill set for her to kind of look at before going to college.
Well, I invite her to come to our next finance meeting so we can talk about the real estate of Columbia Drive.
When is that?
I was actually looking at the calendar. It'll probably be 2 Tuesdays from now. So right before our council meeting on the 12th. I'm looking at the 28th of April, but I'll send out a reminder to the church in the email. To everyone that got the email today, I will follow up with another email that says when the finance meeting will be. But I'm aiming for the 28th of this month.
Thank you.
In person or Zoom?
No, it's all gonna be Zoom. It's gonna be Zoom. It's gonna be Zoom, and it's gonna be 30 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna be efficient with it like that. No, 45 minutes. Piggybacking off of what Mavis said, with respect to giving, as we continue to develop the ministries that we're looking to prioritize and to market to the community, I don't want you to feel the pressure and the weight that giving will feel. It's effectively you are backing and investing in what these ministries that we are saying we're going to invest our time into. So think of it as a two-way street. As you're investing your time and energy into these ministries that you care mostly and deeply about, you are also investing in your resources into seeing them come to fruition and trusting the leaders to see it through. So you have the backing, obviously, of the finance team, but you also have church council and our leadership committee to allocate resources in your expectation. But to Mavis's point, we also need participation. So giving and then expecting allocation without participating is not going to help us continue to go to the next level. We need your time, and we also need your resources as well, too.
And they've said just about everything I was going to say. I'm just going to give you some numbers for you to,
numbers?
some numbers that you want. Okay? So, according to this, we had 77 regular givers. 13 of those givers gave over 50% of what we put out. Think about it. Now think about where you fall. Is that where you want to be? I know we're in a hard time. But we think if you give up a soda a day, Or a candy bar. Or a candy bar. Or for those of you who consume a couple of drinks a week. And you said, I'm going to give this to Columbia Drive. So just think about it. So let's take a few minutes, and then we're going to come back and talk about ways that we can generate revenue from other people. Okay?
Can we be back in 5 minutes? And it is now 10:35. So if we're back at 10:40, would that work?
10 minutes.
It takes 5 minutes just to get to the bathroom.
I ain't giving up my coat.
Hey, Albert. What he say?
Thank you. I agree with you.
Go ahead, Not two, three. I go back there to the but you know what I try to do? Me
I'm trying to
I that picture on that wall. I really do. I promise I do. I promise. Sit down.
Christine, Linda, Sierra, Jasper. I didn't want to call y'all, but y'all made me call y'all. It's your fault. It ain't my fault.
We're talking business.
And I want you to talk business, but later. Because y'all are talking a dual business. We're going to talk a multi-involvement business. So, we've talked about a lot of things that we want to do, or we think we should do, and how we can grow the church. But the church needs funds to exist. So what we want to talk about now is some ideas on what you think, some of the things you think we can do to generate revenue for the church. As Mavis said, that we're paying as much as we can pay. I hope that's what we're doing. So the only other source is that we have revenue generating events. So think about some events that you would like to see us do. And yes.
I wanted to add before we left. I know we're talking about finance, and this is about finance too. ask Bryant or whomever, do you think it would be a good idea, maybe we have a finance bulletin board somewhere? Just so, cause I know, I think I heard Ms. Mavis say, you know, you be forgetting some of the numbers that you said, or some of the goals that we have, and sometimes it helps to see it visually. So is there a place, I don't know, either in the sanctuary, in the narthex or somewhere else, where there's just a space, like if I miss today's meeting, right? I can go over to the board and go, oh, okay, we're still doing the roof. Okay, we at 67, we're trying to get here. So a visual that can sit somewhere.
You're talking about a thermometer.
Well, that, but yeah, the thermometer, but I also meant like bulletin board that has certain information, like that can remind us about the $400 for apportionment, or that can remind us, you know, wherever that pledge, or like if there's some numbers that we need to know. I'm not saying the whole entire finance report, nothing that you will discuss in the meeting, but something that can be generalized that just shows our goal, what we're trying to do, and where we are. That can just be 2 or 3 things.
I think it's a great idea, Sheriff. A great idea.
Yeah, so, the goal, once we start identifying the ministries that we want to actually start putting dollars behind, we do want to have like a tracker effectively. So whether it's a thermometer, whether it's a bulletin, that's the first thing I heard you say. The next thing I heard you say was, you know, like one-off reminders that come out of finance meetings, like, hey, don't forget your apportionments. Hey, this is a reminder email. Like, as opposed to an email, it's a bulletin format. Yes, we can do that too. It's about packaging it and not having too many pieces of information confusing people. So, forgive me if I feel like I'm slow to certain things. I'm slow because I'm gathering information so that when we do present, we present from a consistent basis. And we don't have to go back and try to change the wheel all over again after that. Yeah.
There's actually, I asked the same question about the thermometer. I actually saw one in the room across from neighbors. So it's a matter, I think, of starting it over depending on what it says. And getting the new one up. And then being the, I always like to say this, one of the newest members.
Charity has to sign it.
One of the things I've always said is that, and I discussed this when we went on break, I think we need to be very clear to the members who need to know where we stand. I think there's been a concern about, everybody feels like they want to browbeat people about the money, but you can't run a business without money. And the church is about God first, but in the Bible they talk a lot about money because it's something we have to get it together, or else there will not be a church for us to fulfill our mission. So I think everybody needs to know how much we do, you know, not maybe to the dollar, but what are we working with? And I don't think people really realize what we're working with, what we need. That's $24,000 every year that goes up and down. Everybody needs to keep that in mind. We owe $24,000 every year. Regardless of what else we do, we need $24,000 for our portion.
Well, it's a little more than that. We need, we need to, they need to know the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, we got to pay our portions. Right. We got to pay our salaries. We got to pay our utilities. And it's one big package. And I agree. I think that we need to keep the church informed. It's like Mavis said, we were focusing on the heating and air conditioning, right? Since we went back in the church and the heating and air conditioning is fixed, we forgot about the roof. And when I say we forgot about the roof, we hadn't forgotten about it. It's just that people think, oh, we're in the church now, we comfortable. Right. The roof don't matter no more. And so we have to keep, like you said, keep it in front of the people. And if you're not browbeating them, and there was a plan to do a class on legacy fund that it never developed, is that you can designate so much of your insurance, life insurance, or your property, or anything that you have upon your death to go to the church. And that's what
Melvin Noel did.
Yeah, that's what she did. That's what she said. She left $75,000 to the church. No, hers did not stipulate. You can, but the problem we have, if you stipulate, we can't use it for anything else.
Right. So that actually brings up a great point when it comes to how we have been giving across multiple different categories for a long period of time. Mavis alluded to this earlier, that we are, we give towards events, or we give towards things happening, and then people, gather around that. That's not how you operate, though, functionally, when you have bills that come every single month like clockwork. So what we're trying to transition towards, right, clearly define the ministries that we want to say, that this is where we're going to fund, but then operating on a basis of, okay, what we still collect monthly, we still have to pay our bills first. Then we allocate down to ministry. But if, again, going back to 77 members that are giving, 13 of which are carrying the church, we're earmarking to different categories, we're kind of constrained from an operating perspective because they've already stipulated and earmarked where they want those funds to go. So that puts us in a bind when you have 15 different categories to allocate out of, but you still got a bill to pay that doesn't care where the money's going to come from. So for us, when it comes to consolidating our ideas, consolidating where our visions and ministries want to go, we're squarely focused on, like, here are 3 to 4 priority ministries that we all want to put time, effort, and money behind. If we want to earmark towards those, then great. But then but before that, the expectation is that our giving on Sunday is going into making sure that water bills paid, light bills paid, grass is cut. We're funding a fund to replace the roof. We're funding a fund to get our sprinkler system so we can get this building up to code. So thinking more in a streamlined approach as opposed to it being 15 different line items that constrain us from being able to allocate accordingly.
So could we maybe say what,
The other question is, I would not get from the denomination, but if there's a way you can go to the denomination, a way you can go to the denomination and get some grace on the apportionment, because we need to do so much to this building.
That was my first question when I became finance chair.
But Brian, can you share, maybe for newcomers or givers or whatever, how those, like what we should be selecting, or could you share where, or maybe this might be Mavis, I don't know, but like when I give to building fund, where does that go? When I give to tithe, does that go? Because maybe I think I'm giving to utilities, but I'm not.
So, and this is a conversation about where Mavis was talking about earlier, about we're transitioning into condensing the amount of categories that you can give into, just so we don't run into that constraining issue. Building fund goes to the building fund as you think of it that way, right?
Right now it's primarily going to pledges.
Building fund?
The building fund is your pledges because we're not actually building anything. We're getting ready to renovate.
So any renovations to the, is that mean to the?
No, don't get ahead of me.
No, I'm trying to understand what you said.
Going to the pledges.
Do you remember?
Pledges, that's all I got.
So what I would say also is like, I wouldn't get too bogged down right now into how the categories are set, is because, again, it is what it is right at this stage. I didn't go there yet. I'm gonna let you do that.
Okay, people are asking about your tithes and offerings, when you give that, goes to, operational. That is paying the bills. You know, you have your insurance, you have all of the lights, gas, water, sewer, sanitation. Tithes and offering goes toward that. You know, copiers, we have to pay for the copiers. We have to pay for our technology for inputting the things into the system. So when you want your statements, we can hit that button and it comes through that. That's with tithes. Now, pledges, just the pledges is what we were raising to do the HVAC over there and the fellowship hall roof and ceiling over here. All of that money is being collected just for those items. We finished the HVAC system, we raised enough money to get the new HVAC system, and we went back over there. So now the money that's coming in for pledges is going toward completing the roof, a new roof in the fellowship hall, which we got an estimate for $170,000. So, you know, we still need your pledges to do that. And that's where that, so, any other, and then the other, the tithes and offering, those for operationals. Right.
And any other thing is normally just specified, right, like children's ministry?
Okay, there are, yes, the designated funds, when you give amount, say that if you give amount to scholarship, that money goes into the line item specifically for scholarship. If you give money online for the food pantry, that goes in that line item for food pantry only. If you give money for youth, youth, children, food pantry, scholarship, those are designated funds, and that goes on the line item. Question over there, Don?
Tithes and offerings also go on to pay the salaries of the pastor, the
Exactly.
musicians, etc. So that
Exactly.
needs to be on there.
Exactly. But, yeah, we have to pay the pastor's salary out of that. We have to pay salary of our other employees. And we're going to be getting a custodian, so that's going to be added to that. So whatever keeps the church open and moving.
Can I just say one thing? I think a way for individuals, at least many would approach this, our obligation as Christians is to tithe. Okay, and that's your 10% of earnings and whatever, however you arrive at that figure. Anytime you decide something else in the church is really of just a big interest to me, then that's over and above tithe. You know, many would like to say, well, I only want to give to what I want to do.
Right.
And that is what creates problems for being able to take care of our operation of this church. So think of your designated funds is what I do over and above my tithes.
That's exactly what I was about to say next. When you have so many line items under designated funds that you give accordingly, we're hampering the operation of the church. So, baseline, tithes and offering, that's what gets earmarked for our operations of the church, and that should be your baseline giving. Anything on top of that that is of an interest based upon a ministry that you want to support, that is where you can start allocating above and beyond.
And I'm gonna hit that dead horse one more time. So, if you decide your tithe is $100 a week, and you wanna give to another fund, whatever you're gonna give to that fund should be above and beyond that $100. So if you want to give $10 to this fund, you should pay $110.
So if you give $100 as your tithe, you give $20 for the children's ministry. You need $400 at the end of the year for apportionments. Don't forget that.
Apportionments
It's supposed to come out of tithe, but we don't, because just that's the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way it is because we don't pay our tithe. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. We don't pay our tithe.
So, wait.
When I say we,
I know, no, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
So if I pay my tithe, I don't have to give $400 for a portion.
No, I didn't.
Don't say.
But
Reverend Kimbrough came to the church. Reverend Kimbrough decided he was gonna pay his tithe, his apportionments 1 month at the start of the year. And he asked everybody to give to that account. And everybody did. They paid the tax. We used to pay the apportionments 1 month after they were due. When you do that, it restricts how we can pay the bills.
Right.
Now, when you got a lot of money in the church, it doesn't matter, but when you're doing something like what we're doing now, trying to really make it on what we have, you don't want to designate funds. If you need money in your will to the church, or you have a designated legacy fund that you want to pay before you and leave it to the church, then that fund should go into the tithing, because that's what's going to make the church strong in the long run. And what we should do, we should honor the person that did it with some kind of designation. I don't know what you want to do, but we need to designate something in that family's name for that donation. And anybody who does it, we should do the same thing. And we all are elderly, so it's something you might want to consider later on. Yeah, I'm talking about myself. Anyways, that's why I think that what they're trying to do now, they're not trying to take the money out of the designation. And you guys weren't here, but before we used to have a list of about 30 designated funds. We still have the same thing. The Bell Choir had a designated fund. The Roll Choir had a designated fund. We had designated funds for the garden. And all types of things. And at that time, when I was treasurer, we needed the money. So let me explain something. In accounting, if those of you who know accounting, once you designate the funds as an account, it never goes away. It's just a liability now that you have in the church. Not that you're taking the money and put it somewhere else, but it's just a liability that the church has. And there's nothing wrong with it. It can stay on there for 100 years, or if anybody cares. Some of them might be close to that. But my point is that we're not taking the money and using it somewhere else. We just, for convenience sake, they have to use the fund. They don't want to go out of business. They'll close the church down.
For years, I don't know, is that Scout Hut money still on books? I think we had like $110 or something. That was on the Scout Hut book.
For Scout Hut, that was $10,000.
No.
Can we, and I know our internal giving and allocation of dollars is critical in a strategy. That is